Hello, everyone, and welcome to our TicFit series. We are back to talk about AMRAP workouts. My name is Shauna Chance, and I'm the Executive Director of the Southern California chapter. To learn more about or donate to the TAA, please visit Tourette.org. To learn more about and donate to our chapter, please visit SoCalTAA.org. And now I am happy to introduce Raquel Cunningham, an accomplished strength and conditioning coach, as well as a valued volunteer with our chapter. And now to Raquel.
Hi guys. So we've been doing several different workouts for Miles for Tourette's, and now it's just a chance to kind of talk about what we did, what we're doing. Did it help you? Did something increase tics? Why might that be? Did something decrease tics? Why might that be? And so the big style that everybody really liked the best was AMRAP. AMRAP stands for as many reps or rounds as possible. So there's different kinds of aerobic workout. There's anaerobic, there's aerobic. Aerobic is, so if you're putting in some serious miles for Tourette's, you're probably more aerobic right now, which is a set amount of time. It's closer to steady state. It's, let's say you do probably about 40 minutes and above. If you're going 40 to 90 minutes of cardio workout, kind of a steady state, you're just constantly going, that's aerobic. Your heart's pumping, your body's flowing, and so here's the deal with aerobic. Great, everybody needs it. American Heart Association gives you a designated minutes per day to do with science evidence-backed why it works, why it helps the body. So when you do aerobic, you're burning calories. We know that. When you stop aerobic, you're done burning your calories for the day. The reason everybody, there's been such a move towards anaerobic or HIIT, high intensity interval training lately, is that it can increase your metabolism. So let's say you did those 45 minutes of aerobic running. You were hitting 6 miles per hour, or that was your pace the whole time. When you do anaerobic, let's say you push that to like 8 miles per hour, 7.2, you're going up a lot heavier, a lot faster, and then you back it off. So there's those intervals of fast pace and jump roping. Let's say you jump rope as fast as you can for 30 seconds, then you rest, then fast as you can for 30 seconds. Those different variables, those different intervals increase your metabolism. It's max push, rest, max push, rest. Once you stop your anaerobic, you will continue burning calories for the rest of the day. And so even though the net calorie burn for aerobic might be, let's say you do 200 calories for that anaerobic workout, let's say in 20 minutes, let's say you only do a 10-minute AMRAP, okay, maybe that's 120, 150 calories. You'll end up burning more calories throughout that anaerobic throughout the rest of the day. You might end up burning 300 calories through the rest of the day because your body was operating at a higher frequency. So the reason we bring up calories, it's a form of work. That's what we're looking at. I'm not talking about, okay, calorie per bar, calorie per apple, calorie that. Calorie is a measurement of work. And when we use that now talking about Tourette's, how does that work? I guess I should backtrack a little bit too. There's other measurements of work. Wattage, output, calories, perceived exertion, those are all different measurements of work. And reason I give you these tools or to discuss this is to figure out if there's some sort of measurable way that you can start to assess ways that increase or decrease your tics. Now, high intensity interval training, as I kind of blew through that explanation really quick, can increase people's tics. Let's say you're just highly competitive by nature. I am. So there are certain styles of workouts that increase my tics. Well, if I can look at, okay, if I'm pushing this wattage, so let's say cycling, if I'm cycling and I'm looking at my wattage, I'm using that form of measurement. If I'm doing like 250 watts, that increases my tics. So now I know, okay, if I can scale this back a little bit and maybe hit 220 and then drop back down to 150, 220, drop back down to 150. So it's still high intensity interval training, but now I have a measurable way to know what increases my tics, and that's my body. Calories are not really an indicative way to figure out what increases or decreases your motor tics. The only reason I brought up that measurement when discussing aerobic or anaerobic is because that is a big difference between the two. But all of these other tools are really great ways to measure that. And so the AMRAP workout that we did, and the reason I did that is because it is scalable. So you can go back to the Tourette's YouTube channel. I think they've posted our workouts. You can go to TicFit.org. I've also linked the videos there for what we did. And I'm losing my train of thought. There's like so much I want to say, and this is just, you know, my ADHD when it comes to the comorbid Tourette's. I try to do too much at once instead of, you know, succinctly and, you know, discuss things more of in an outline. So I typically tend to throw too much information and then we kind of dissect it. So bear with me on that. But the AMRAP workout that we did is scalable, and that's a chance for you to figure out what a good pace is for you. First of all, just where's your body at right now? And then secondly, when you bring mindfulness to it, how does that change your workout? So today's actually, we're doing a workout with Camp George in a little bit here. I'll just kind of use this as an example. So our first AMRAP workout that we're going to do for them, we're just putting a timer on for 10 minutes. We're going to do a short lunge, 6 of them, some high knee taps, some plank taps, and then, what did I say here? Some crab reaches. So what we're going to do is it stands for as many, in this case, we're going to do rounds as possible. So you'll do 6 of those, 10 of those, 6 of those, 10 of those, as many rounds as you can. So now, if you're a person that likes to work out, that likes to just push, go, you know that you love that high intensity intervals, you might be able to get 8 rounds in there. That is high intensity interval training. That's a hard push. How does that feel for you? What if you are a person that just, honestly, the anxiousness of knowing, oh my gosh, I have to work as hard as I can, that's all my output, everything, just the thought alone might increase your tics. Well, you could still put a timer on. You don't have to go through 8 rounds then, as long as you're just consistently moving. So a good way to see like kind of which end of the spectrum you fall, if this does apply to you, do the same workout. And then the first time you do it, truly do as many rounds as you can. Only rest when you absolutely need to. Like push for it. That's high intensity interval training. That is kind of what AMRAP is designed to do. Then the next time you do it, go at a more steady pace. Focus more on the strength aspect. You know, slow things down a little bit. And then kind of do a self-assessment. What's going on with your tics throughout the rest of the day? Did either one of those styles increase or decrease? I think when it comes to working out and motor tics, there's a lot of self-awareness, there's a lot of self-assessment that has to go along with it, without stressing ourselves out. You know, it's more of a curious observation when you're doing it about yourself, as opposed to already having some sort of expectation. I think we need to let those expectations go. You know, okay, this workout's going to completely change this. This workout's going to completely do that. Again, a curious observation. You need to figure out, how did this make you feel? How did that make you feel? Try it again. Is that a consistent thing, or was that just a one-off? Maybe you're like me and you had, you know, 2 cups of coffee before you did that workout. Maybe it was the coffee, not the workout. But if you can pick one workout, set yourself a timer, do, again, all out AMRAP workout, and then slow it down a little bit and see which one of those makes you feel good. So yeah, that's kind of a big thing with that AMRAP workout. So as far as what exercises I chose for the AMRAP, right now we're focusing on whole body. You know, this is a very curious time in the world when we're, you know, not able to do our normal activities. And so right now we're kind of focusing on whole body. We'll just kind of break it down through. I will say the hardest thing to do at home without weights, without equipment, is making sure that we're doing our pulling motions. So that would be back, the back, upper back, your rhomboids, your traps, your lats. Glutes, hamstrings are technically still a pull, but there's other ways that we can do that without equipment. So I would say upper body pulls are kind of the biggest challenge at home sans workout. So that's where we kind of get creative with, you know, using water bottles or canned goods. If you do, everybody's kind of pulling out whatever weights and bands they've ordered from the past and dusting them off and put them to use. We can use a lot of different things that you have around in your house. So as far as what exercises I chose, typically I start with the bigger ones first. So bigger muscles are typically in the legs. Not always true when you're kind of developing your own AMRAP. I would do the hardest exercises for you first. And so let's say it's a push-up. Push-up takes all of your effort. Do that one first. If you're great with lunges, yeah, do that at the end. Since this is for a lot of people and I don't know where everybody's at, generally I'll go with kind of legs first and then work our way through to upper body. So I'm doing an exercise called a short lunge. It's just a single leg squat based exercise, focuses on the glutes, focuses on the quads. Next one, high knees. So again, with the legs, this is more just sheer cardio. And then this one in here too, so this would be a good point to shift to the scale. How fast are you doing your high knees? So I gave it a number count, right? 10 of them. So are you doing those 10 high knee exercises in 5 seconds? Or are you taking 10 seconds? What's your tempo on those? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like your body has different responses to your tempo. So yeah, that exercise within there, since that's more cardio based, you have more opportunity to control that tempo. Your short lunge, you can also control that tempo too. But by nature, a lunge is going to take longer than a high knee. So the plank taps, same thing. Crab reach is a little bit longer of an exercise. So I did 2 leg exercises and then 2 upper body exercises. That's how I did that AMRAP. You can pick as many exercises as you want for that. Essentially, you can pick as much time. Typically, high intensity interval training workouts are shorter because physiologically speaking, your body will, you know, fatigue after doing, you know, honestly, personally, probably 20 minutes is the longest that I'll do for an AMRAP workout. Not to say that you can't go longer, but you won't necessarily see that benefit. If you're trying to push for like a 40-minute AMRAP, by the end, you're just struggling to go along. So your AMRAPs are supposed to be short. They're supposed to be efficient. But yeah, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, those are kind of my go-to formula for creating those. I'll typically do 4 to 5 exercises within there. Again, you can do more, but I would highly suggest you write it down. That's why I got my whiteboard, because as you start to get tired, you're gonna forget. So write them down and get creative too. You can do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. You can do, you know, like I'm designing it, 2 upper bodies, then 2 lower bodies. Can do all core with it. There's actually a really popular scheme for high intensity interval training, which is anaerobic, which is AMRAP, called Tabata. And Tabata, it's a 3.5-minute cycle. And basically on a Tabata, you just pick one exercise. And you go 20 seconds all out, 10 seconds rest, 7 to 8 rounds. I typically do 7. I've kind of heard, you know, varying rationale for going 7 rounds versus 8 rounds. I was taught 7, so that's what I do. That takes about 3.5 minutes. That is 3.5 minutes of work, but by the end, there should be true fatigue of that muscle. So like, let's take mountain climbers, for example. That's when you're in a plank position, hands are on the ground, toes are on the ground, and your knees are going as fast as you can back and forth. So gotta get a timer. Don't try to guess what 20 seconds is like when you're working out, because workout time versus perceived time, very different. So let's say you're going 20 mountain climbers, Tabata, 20 seconds, all out, go, 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 go. You're keeping yourself stable, then 10 seconds rest. Again, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. So they are 30-second intervals there, 7 rounds, and boom, fatigue. So Tabata is another quick way. If you can only squeeze in, 5 to 10 minutes of your day working out, that could be a good option. But yeah, so there's just different styles of how to get this anaerobic, how to get this high intensity style of workout. If you look up, it's so cool right now because there's so much evidence-backed information about working out, the physiology of it. It's science. And I would love to apply science to working out and how that affects Tourette's. So far, the only studies that I have come across, and I'm hoping that there's more out there, they're all based on just general cardio. And more so on the aerobic side, less so on the anaerobic side, at least that I have found. I don't have access to, these databases that I know exist out there. I've worked with a couple different neuropsychologists that have pointed me in the direction to try to dig through these studies. But there's not a lot, and I would like there to be more. It could be great to figure out, does not AMRAP, anaerobic versus aerobic versus strength training, how do those all affect tics, the comorbid conditions? Within my scope of practice, I'm truly just in the physical tic side to try to balance out muscular activity. But yeah, what was my next point I was going to make here? Well, I can kind of go through our next AMRAP that we're going to do with our Camp George. This one I will say is way heavier on the legs. Our second little one here, a baby squat, a jump squat, inverted mountain climbers, and skiers. So it's actually 3 leg based, 1 upper body based. But our movement challenge is going to be arm based. So I was trying to preserve arms for a little bit. A baby squat is just a specific way to do your squat to try to activate more out of your quads and glutes. Jump squat, that's plyometric, boom, that's going to get your heart rate up. And then the inverted mountain climbers, that's for obliques, get some core, get some rotation involved. And then the skiers is a plyometric lateral movement side to side. And the movement challenge, which I will not reveal to you, is that. So that's our second style AMRAP. It's movement, just create something that, put exercises that you like, put exercises that you need to work at. This is a great way to find a balance of that. If you're just going to sit and do a strength workout, the odds are you're not going to do the things that you're not good at or you don't like. Those aren't going to be the first on your list. We all have a tendency to do the things that we like, as we should. If I have an option to go hiking or do the laundry, I'm going to go hiking. We're going to do the things that we like. But somehow we still have to get done the things that we need to get done. That is true with our bodies and doing certain strengthening activity there. So this is a great way to kind of sneak in those exercises that that you need to do that you might not like. So there's that too. I'm trying to think of some other talking points just based on just based on specifically, AMRAP. Let's see, what else can we go over here? Dynamic stretching. Let's go over our warm up and cool down. Before you do high intensity, typically there's a lot more plyometric, which is more dynamic movement. Plyometric is explosive movement. So going from a squat to a jump squat, those skiers that I just mentioned a moment ago, from doing a lateral lunge to a jumping lateral lunge. There's been a lot of studies that dynamic warm up helps prevent injury. Dynamic warm up helps to create better pliability of your tissues. So a dynamic warm up, dynamic stretching would be holding a movement for 3 to 5 seconds and then moving on. So you're trying to actively teach that muscle, hey, we're about to do some work. This is how we elongate, this is how we contract. Elongate, contract. That's more applicable to the workout that you're going to do, as opposed to just holding a static stretch, because now you're just lengthening out that muscle, which is good. We need flexibility, but that's not teaching that muscle what you're about to do, right? If we just lengthen out this muscle and then all of a sudden we ask it to contract, release, there's actually been more injury caused that way. So dynamic warm-ups are a more applicable, what's the other word I'm looking for here? More transferable way to show your body and prep your body for what you're about to do. Your cool down at the end of your workout. Now your body's hot, now your body's loose, now your body's fatigued. That's a great time to now do your static stretching. You know, reach and hold. You can actually probably get into that muscle a little bit better after your body's hot, after your body's done with your workout. That would be a good time to do your static stretching. So all of a sudden this 10-minute AMRAP workout might have had, 5 to 7 minutes worth of warm-ups and dynamic stretching, again, 5 to 7 minutes of a cool down. So you've got yourself a solid little 20, 30 minutes of just whole body movement that you've plopped into a short amount of time, but made a very efficient workout and movement pattern for yourself. Let's see. There's so much that can go into kind of program design, which is a much bigger conversation. As far as, do you do the same AMRAP workout every day? Do you do a different one every day? That gets more into program design. Program design, like, what are you trying to do with your body? Numero uno, like, figure out what that goal is. Can you do an AMRAP workout every single day? You're going to fatigue. Like, those rest days become very important. I would suggest going AMRAP every other day, especially if you're going to pick that same workout that you do that every other day. If for whatever the goal is, whatever your current ability is, if you're good with doing an AMRAP every day, then you're going to have to pick different exercises. Maybe you do a leg AMRAP on Monday and you do an arm AMRAP on Tuesday. If you go to Tourette.org, TicFit.org, or to the Tourette's YouTube and look up one of the workouts that we did for Miles for Tourette's that was planes of motion, that's actually another way that you could kind of design your AMRAP workouts. We did a planes of motion strength workout that was based on frontal plane motion, sagittal plane motion, and then transverse. That's a fancy way of saying side to side motion, forward and back motion, and rotational motion. You can plot out workouts based on that. Okay, everything today is going to be based on rotational movements. Every workout or every exercise today is going to be based on lateral movements. And in doing that, you're actually changing the muscles that you use. And so that gives you better rest and breaks between just doing the same muscles day after day after day. So an example of that, let's say it's Monday, we'll go, forward and back motion. So forward lunges, forward and back. Well, then that's your quads, that's your glutes, glute max specifically. Well, then the next day, if you focus on side to side motion, you can still do your legs, but it's side to side, so you're actually slightly working different muscles. You're working your adductors, your abductors, that's your side glute muscle, your inner thigh muscle. So you're not going to over fatigue yourself by just doing the same muscles day after day. So training in different planes of motion is a great way to kind of build your workouts too. Another reason I did the planes of motion workout, jumping topics a little bit, is to get you to think about your body moving in space. And when we tick, we're often, the tick just becomes something separate, and we don't think of it as in terms of like the strength and conditioning world. So, an arm twitch, say, right? Okay, if you were to describe your tick, you say, well, I just pop up my shoulder like this. I just do this. We'll start to think about it in forward and back motion, side to side motion, and rotation movement. So do you throw it forward and then up? So there's two directions there, or is it a roll? Is it a twist? Is it to start to think about it in terms of planes of motion? Well, then as you craft your workouts here, we can kind of balance that out. If you're always throwing your shoulder forward, well, then do you really want to just be doing push-ups all the time? That could actually prep those muscles to keep doing that motion. I would argue that if you're constantly throwing your shoulder forward, that maybe a lot of your AMRAP workouts should be focusing on the opposite, pulling it back, doing different, the opposite motion of that. And that's, a big CBIT principle, figuring out what your competing response is. In crafting your workouts like this, you can help yourself better establish and better connect to your competing response movement. In strengthening the opposite motion, if you are to work with a therapist and they figure out, for CBIT, and you guys figure out and establish what your competing response is, well, now you actually have better brain muscle connection with that. If the shoulder forward is that tick, it is kind of funny, even as I demo this, like I feel the urge to want to tick more. If you're throwing your shoulder forward a bit as your tick, but you have been at least strengthening your back muscles, well, now all of a sudden, if your competing response is to pull your shoulder back, you can connect with those muscles better. Just by thinking about it, you can feel that connection without kind of creating a back tick. So again, just a different way to kind of craft and establish what your workouts can be, and how they can be utilized to help you manage your tics in different situations. So yeah, lot to talk about, and a lot of different avenues to go down when discussing fitness, health, strength, conditioning, and Tourette's. I will say this has just been such a passion project for me, because obviously having Tourette's, my whole family having Tourette's, when I work out, that was distinctively the first time that I recognize there's a period of time when I don't tick. Why? Why is that? And how can I make that happen more? A lot of people, I think, come to find that there is a period of time when they don't tick once they find their activity. And it doesn't have to be working out, whether it's playing music, painting, reading, writing. Because another time that I do not tick is actually when I journal. And so again, why? Is it the fine-tune muscle control? Is it the focus? Is it, I don't know, but chase the why. Reading, singing, painting, taking pictures, I don't know, ice skating, doing something that you love, that you're driven. I know video games seems to be kind of a hot one that actually increases people's motor tick. So that's kind of the playing devil's advocate here, as far as like do something that you love, that you like doing, that can increase your motor ticks. Chase the why. Is it the competitive aspect? Is it the physical motion of doing this? I don't know, there's a lot to discover and look at and learn, and experiment with, to figure out how we can utilize movement to our benefit, to help us. When it comes to these AMRAP style workouts, now we'll get into another good conversation, which is breath. Your breath is used for so many different things. The first thing that typically comes to mind is meditation, calming down your central nervous system. But using your breath correctly when you work out, making sure the more optimal muscle patterns with breathing, how they will help you lift in a more optimal way. You get better muscle recruitment with better breathing styles. It can also help you, I don't want to say calm down your central nervous system, but it gives you an outlet to do something with your breath, to do something with it, not to just sit there. I mean, breathing on its own is highly, highly beneficial. It absolutely is. But now when you have something to do, you know, breathe, tighten your stomach, and then push the weight. You actually feel the results of having better breath connection and output. You know, there's something physical that comes out of it. You know, can you lift this weight holding your breath? Okay, well now breathe and lift that weight. Oh, that's easier. My body feels better doing it. I'm not fighting against myself. So there's a lot to be said about the breath connection there. If we were to apply that to singing, let's say you're the type of person that's when you sing, you don't tick. We've seen that happen obviously on bigger platforms, but you're doing something with your breath. You have this diaphragmatic control and you can, you know, belt out these notes and you're not ticking. So the reason I'm bringing up the breath in relationship to an AMRAP workout is when we do strength training, we have our breath. And like I just described, you're doing something physical with that breath. When you're doing aerobic workouts, your breath is rhythmical. You can't hold your breath and do aerobic workout. You're going to pass out. So there's something rhythmical that happens with your breath. It becomes a different style of breath when you go from diaphragmatic breathing to in strength training to aerobic and anaerobic. Diaphragmatic breathing is breathing with your diaphragm into your core. You know, there's a lot of drill that we do the most is if you put a hand on your belly, hand on your chest, keep your chest hand quiet and breathe into your belly. Well, once you hit a certain level of aerobic activity, then anaerobic, you have to go into your chest. It just has to happen. You need a quicker exchange of oxygen. There's different ways to measure that with VO2 testing. So again, that could be another avenue that we actually study and test. When you hit a certain VO2 max, VO2 levels, does that increase or decrease your ticks? You know, there's just so much room for, you know, the medical community and the fitness community to combine evidence-based knowledge and develop some just physical protocols and just to get more information out there. But yeah, so in these AMRAP style workouts, again, a curious observation is kind of what we're looking for. So if you're doing your AMRAP workout and you're going for the high intensity, fast as you can, you're going to notice you're breathing out of your chest. You're breathing heavy, you're breathing fast. That's okay. That's supposed to happen. You need, again, a quicker oxygen work exchange. If you slow it down a little bit and you need 20 minutes of just constant work. It's not necessarily as fast or as hard as you can. Curious observation, what's your breath doing? You might be able to tap into more diaphragmatic breathing with pairing that with specific movements. So again, just curious observation, figure out what your body's doing under different mindful stressors. Stressors being, you know, workout, resistance, something that you are applying externally to your body. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I could ramble on for hours and hours, but I guess that's kind of the basis with AMRAP workout, and your workouts can be whatever you want them or need them to be. They can help wake you up. They can help calm you down. They can help you focus. They can be, distraction is not the right word, but it can just take you somewhere else, wherever you need to be. Mindfulness, I think, is a huge, huge part that's just been untapped in our psyche. And it's amazing what you do when you put an intention to your workout. And something as simple as this workout will be high intensity, or this workout will be consistent aerobic. Is somewhere in there when you're starting to get tired, maybe you're losing focus a little bit, don't switch. That goes back to the mindfulness. What did you intend to do with this workout? Something as simple as that. But yeah, so I think that's all I have for you guys with my AMRAP tick explanation. But if you guys have questions, email me, raquelrkc@gmail.com. If you have specific questions or you'd like some help crafting maybe 2 or 3 different AMRAP workouts to do for a month. Yeah, here for you guys. Will help if you need some suggestions on good exercises to start with in relationship to what your tics are. Yeah, again, shoot me an email and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much, Raquel.
My pleasure.
And thank you everyone for joining us. So I want to announce that on August 19th, we are actually going to have a Q&A session. So that will give everyone the opportunity to submit their questions ahead of time, and then Raquel and I will sort of talk about them and answer them. So to sign up for that session, please visit Tourette.org, and then our TicFit session will have the link for you to sign up. And then in the coming days, we'll give people the opportunity to start submitting questions. And so we're really excited about doing it. It'll give a great opportunity for us to sort of deep dive into the things that everyone wants to know. So would you like to add anything, Raquel, or are we going to sign off for today?
I think we're good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next month.
Cool. See ya.